All right, let me now invite on stage Niyati, who is a CA and digital content creator. She's not just been empowering women with her strong educational content, but is also bringing a positive change in the society with her action-driven content. Please welcome Niyati. Sorry, I was looking back.
Hello everyone. We've had a very insightful evening with a lot of amazing discussions with a lot of panelists. So now to just kind of break the ice before the main event that we're all here for, I just wanted to ask the audience if they have any suggestions for any woman who's just entering the workforce. Because I remember, and incidentally, I started my career at the workplace with Deloitte, who's the knowledge partner for the event. I was an intern over there. And I remember going there on my, and I remember going there as, a green 21-year-old, not knowing what to do, seeing everybody run around. So that's why I want to ask you if you all have any advice for the women watching, for the newbies, on what they should do.
So I entered Deloitte 30 years ago, and my advice to the new me, in case I was entering Deloitte all over again, is to be super confident, believe in oneself, and forge ahead. Today, of course, the world is a much better place. In those days, I have to tell you a quick story. In those days, clients would come in. I used to work in financial advisory. Clients would come in. I'd welcome them, offer them tea, coffee, we would make some small conversation, and then I'd say, okay, what is it about? And they would tell me, isn't there anybody more senior joining us? So I'll leave the story there, but I think today we are in a better position, but consolidate that and forge ahead.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share their stories, some advice?
I'm a mother of an 8-year-old girl, and I want a lot of women who are here to be an inspiring model for girls who will be entering their career 10 years down the line, right? When we entered, obviously, there were less choices. I run a startup, an MSME, where we have at least 50% women participation. We tend to create jobs for a lot of women entrepreneurs as part of our main motive. But what I see in a lot of my colleagues is that the only thing now they're lacking is motivation, right? Motivation to continue to do what they have achieved so far.
मैं हमारी सेवा की बहनों से पूछना चाहूँगी, अगर उन्हें किसी महिला को जिन्हें कुछ नया शुरू करना है, उसके लिए कोई सलाह है? आपके पास कोई सलाह है कि अगर किसी को कुछ नया शुरू करना है तो उन्हें क्या करना चाहिए? थोड़ी सी मदद।
मैं तो ये चाहूँगी कि अगर वो कुछ नया करना चाहती है ना, तो सबसे ज़्यादा वो आसपास, अपने आसपास देखती है कि उसके अंदर विश्वास होता है, पर उसे तोड़ने वाले बहुत होते हैं। सबसे पहले उसे आत्मविश्वास की ज़रूरत है, और फिर वो एक साथ पैर पे पैर रखती जाएगी ना, तो उसे साथ देने वाली हम बहनें ही हैं। क्योंकि मैं तो यही चाहती हूँ कि मुझे तो बहनों ने यहाँ तक, मैं जो मेरे लिए बहुत स्वप्न की तरह है, एक स्वप्न की तरह है, तो मैं इसे सोच सोच के शायद रात को भर सो नहीं पाऊंगी कि मैंने कहाँ गई थी, मैं कहाँ गई थी। अब ये सोच के कर रही हूँ कि अब और ज्यादा करके मैं अपनी बहनों को जोड़ूंगी, जो मैंने देखा है वो भी देखने की कोशिश करें।
Thank you so much for all of those heartening stories. And I love the point that Sharanya mentioned earlier about the missing middle. And I think when it comes to talking about gender parity, it's important to celebrate these victories as well from stories, these small anecdotes, these small stories, when someone says that things are much better now than they were 30 years ago, or when someone shares their experience of breaking a glass ceiling or doing something that people in an earlier generation couldn't do. These are the stories that we ought to celebrate. Okay, we can't hold on to it and be restricted by it, but these are the stories that we ought to celebrate. Now, Shireen quoted a very interesting statistic that it will take 132 years for women, for gender parity at the workplace. So Shireen, I just wanted a tidbit from you. We only see media houses from the front of the camera as viewers. So could you give us an insight about gender parity in media houses?
Well, I don't want to speak about media in general. I can speak for CNBC-TV18. As I said, we have achieved gender parity. In fact, I think today we're more women than we are men. And it's not because we've consciously decided to hire more women. We've consciously decided to create a workplace that is an equal opportunity workplace. And as the naval chief said, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. What matters is, are you right for the job? And that is what has helped us make the decisions when it comes to hiring, when it comes to elevation. I think what we have consciously designed are policies to ensure, this is the issue that the ambassadors were also talking about, that we plug the leaky pipe, that we don't have attrition, especially as far as the middle management pipe is concerned. And as I pointed out, we haven't lost a single woman to maternity. They've all returned back to the workforce. And I truly believe that, you need to ensure that women feel as valued as their male colleagues, that women feel seen and heard and appreciated and recognized. And that's the culture, that's the environment that we've created, where everyone, irrespective of their gender, feels valued, feels appreciated, feels recognized. And so I would say that today at CNBC-TV18, we're very proud of the fact that we are we have achieved gender parity, and we are gender neutral as well.
I think it's so important for oh, you want to share something?
Sure.
I want to say something based on my experience of 20 years in media. Mr. Uday Shankar is sitting right there, one of my bosses in the early years. Mental toughness is something women lack, especially in the age of 20, 21, from their teenage. And this is something I always read almost once in a week, and everybody, I suggest that everybody goes through this over and over again. There is something called a Stockdale paradox. Let me take 2 minutes of your time. The Stockdale paradox is a concept that was popularized by Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great. It was named after James Stockdale, former vice presidential candidate, naval officer, and Vietnam prisoner of war. Stockdale was held captive as a prisoner of war for over 7 years. He was one of the highest ranking naval officers at that time. During this horrific period, Stockdale was repeatedly tortured and had no reason to believe he'd make out of it alive. Held in the clutches of the grim reality of his hell world, he found a way to stay alive by embracing both the harshness of his situation with a balance of healthy optimism. When Stockdale came back from Vietnam and was interviewed on how he managed to stay alive in these years, this is what the conversation said. Now listen very carefully. Who didn't make it out? He said, oh, that's easy. The optimists. They were the ones who said, we are going to be out by Christmas. And Christmas would come and Christmas would go. Then they'd say, we are going to be out by Easter. And Easter would come and Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would come again, and Christmas would come and go again. And they died of a broken heart. They all died of a broken heart. So Stockdale explained this idea as the following. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. Hence, all the women and men always remember, in the end, we will prevail. And just keep swimming, keep gliding, keep going through those years, while maintaining a healthy balance of work-life balance and a me time versus work time balance, with the thing in mind that maybe 10 years, if not 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I will prevail. So that is, I guess mental toughness is something I've learned from Mr. Uday Shankar. I worked with him in Star News, and that will what make you survive, mental toughness.
I think to conclude, we can all say, apna time aayega. And on that note, I'll cut it to Shruti for the next segment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Niyati, for such an engaging conversation. Moving on, it's now time.